Hey, Lori.
Hi, Tammy. So good to see you.
Same, same. Welcome, everybody, to the United States of Us. This is our fifth episode. And if you're wondering where our fourth episode is, you're right, because it hasn't been uploaded yet. But it's going to be today. So you're going to get a two for one bonus today. Woohoo!
Nice.
With that said, today we are going to be talking about love. And with that, I'm going to let Lori read a piece that is going to start our conversation off for us.
Great. Thanks, Tammy. Yeah, I came across this beautiful post on Facebook. I've got some influencers I follow. Zachary Fisher is one of them. He has a few different pages, and he posted something beautiful that I would just love to share with everyone. So it's titled, Love is Something You Become. I used to think love was something you had to find, something outside of you, something that could come and go depending on who stayed and who left. But the deeper I've gone into this journey, the more I've realized something simple and almost uncomfortable at first. Love isn't something you chase, it's something you are. That means if you're not feeling it, it's not because it's missing, it's because something is blocking it. Old wounds, old stories, old versions of you that learned how to protect instead of how to open. I've lived that. There was a time I didn't recognize myself. I was trying to be who I thought everyone else wanted me to be. I gave pieces of myself away just to feel accepted and still felt empty. It wasn't until I stopped performing, stopped chasing, and actually sat with myself that everything changed. Because underneath all the noise, all the armor, all the fear, there it was love, steady, constant, undeniable. Not the kind that depends on anyone else, not the kind that disappears when things get hard, but the kind that just is. And when you find that, when you really feel it, you stop asking the world to give you something you already carry. You move differently. You love differently. You become the proof that it's real. And that's when everything around you starts to shift because love doesn't just exist, it moves through you.
Wow,
Isn't that beautiful?
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That really speaks to me right now, too. I feel like we, as humans in the society that we're in right now, are being fed more and more information designed to divide us more and more. And it's along every line you can imagine. Right now, for me, it feels like the world is a scary place when it comes to men, quite frankly. You hear all of the things in the news. Well, I don't watch the news, but on social media that are designed to either outrage you or scare you to death, especially if you have daughters like we do, right? So for me, I know about a month ago, I was really getting drawn into that and getting drawn into that fear and that picture that was being painted of men being unsafe and every man being unsafe. And if you stop and take that from, or if I stop and take that from my own life experiences, um, more than not, I have not been safe with men, honestly, throughout my life. And that's both family members and relatives and just men in general, intimate partners that I've chosen, and even men that I don't know that well. Um, so, about a month ago is when I noticed. that fear rising in me, and I got to make a choice, right? I got to speak with another person who is a friend, a male friend, and unfortunately, I was unsophisticated and immature in recognizing what was going on with me. So I sort of lashed out at him, and he wore the face of every man who has ever been unsafe for me. And I got to, I made him pay for that essentially with my words. And since then, and because of him, because he showed me a different way and how he responded to that, and how he offered me a different frame to consider most of that in. And it's really evolved over the last month for me. So much so that I had a conversation with a group of women the other day who were feeling very threatened by a man in a workplace. And me, of all people, was saying, I, of all people, was saying, you know, we need to help him find the love inside of him again. We don't need to attack him. We don't need to find justice against him. But we are experiencing a time when many, many men around us are lost. And, you know, could you say, could you say, well, it's not our job to help them. They need to know this. They've had all the power and blah, blah, blah. And yes, you could absolutely say that. But does that get us to where we want to be? I don't think it does. And I don't think that the goal of unity in the new world, which is going to require both the divine masculine and the divine feminine, I don't think that that goal is further served by exacting justice or revenge or any other consequence except love, and the kind of love that you're talking about. It's the kind of love that comes from within, and it's whole and pure and accounts for everyone and sees everyone as a child of God. So sorry, I went on a little monologue there, but I'll let you
Oh, thank
continue.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Tammy. I mean, yes, it's coming, so apparent about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, but underneath all of it, we've all been programmed since birth. I mean, we came in kind of this blank slate, our brains, our operating systems, our parents, they all did their best, with what they were taught and what, they knew. They absolutely were doing their best, but, you know, I mean, boys were raised a little bit different than girls. I remember at least when I was being raised, we played with, dolls, girls did. All I wanted to do was go play in the dirt and ride bikes and be playing outside with the boys. I mean, that's kind of who I was. But I mean, I played with Barbies a little bit with our next door neighbor and what have you. And it was fine. It was just kind of a time filler for me on a rainy day because that's
Right,
not what I really wanted to be
right,
doing. But then you're told, oh, you need to wear these dresses, you need to do this. And I'm always been more comfortable just being in jeans and a t-shirt and a sweatshirt or whatever that looks like. That's just kind of who I am. And that's all okay. But the programming of how we think and the various roles and men have to do this and men have to do that and women have to do this and women have to do that. And underneath it all, I know for me, I mean, the male role to me for the women, I mean, they're the protectors. They're the ones who, step up and, they're kind of the providers as well. But it's more than just that. The women have been put into the roles of having to do a lot of that, of being protectors and providers, because everyone is spread so thin that people are just exhausted. And then you try to find love underneath that. I mean, people go and they work their 8 to 5, 8 to 7, 8 to 12 job, whatever that looks like for people these days, because you have layoffs after layoffs at businesses, and the ones who remain, oh, you're lucky to still be here. No, no,
Right.
no. I mean, that's ridiculous to me, and that's for men and women. And it's just, and then you have to fill every minute with noise. So you're in the car and you're listening to to music or podcast. You're not sitting with yourself. You're not getting your own messages that are coming through from your soul, because it does. You will get messages from spirit that will,
Right.
come in through your chakras and through your energy centers and through, you'll feel them, you'll hear them, but you have to be in a place where you're ready to receive. And I know for me, I've done a lot of that work to where I have sat with myself just to shut out the noise and just to feel and go within. And today, my higher self voice is very strong. It's with me all day long. And there are still distractions. I'm still on, social media and what have you. The algorithm today is beautiful for me because I reinforce those love messages and the raising of humanity's consciousness and unity. And those are the beautiful messages I receive. Other stuff will leak in, yes. There's massive things going on in this world, and I'm aware of them. However, I choose not to feed them because we are creators. And we've been programmed from birth that we are not creators, that we are just worker bees. And that's not who we are. We create this world based on our thoughts, based on our actions, and the love we put out for others and our
Yeah.
prayers. I mean, they really are powerful. And we are just not taught that, Tammy.
I agree.
And so, you and I are on here talking about it because we've uncovered that in our own ways, in our own path, because we've had totally different paths to get us here, but here we are
Hmm.
together
Hmm.
speaking the very same message.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with all of that. And it is, it's a higher frame of consciousness. I mean, for lack of a better way to explain that. I want to acknowledge and um, respect the women who have been hurt by men. Absolutely. And then, you hear things like the rape website that got 62 million views. And, those things are infuriating. And and then of course there's the Epstein files, right? We know how many women and children were hurt as a point of that, and how it feels like the unveiling is here, right? We are just now becoming exposed to the corruption and to the rot that's been underneath the surface for so long that we've just either, like you said, we've been programmed to ignore. We've just avoided it. We've chosen to not see it for whatever reason. We've become complacent with just that mediocre life, right? And there was no need to look below that. And so I want to be sure and say that I am not negating the harm that has been done out there. And it breaks my heart daily for the experiences. I was sexually abused as a child.
Same.
And many, many of us have been. And along the lines of what you were saying for the higher frame of conscious, yes, some people might say, well, men are supposed to be the protectors, but honestly, we need protecting from the men when you think of it in terms of 62 million views of a site that tells men how to rape their wives and get away with it. And my response to that is that no. We don't need to be protected from the men. We are our protectors, much the same that we get to create our own reality and we get to create the new world and the consciousness and the timeline that we live in. And it is imperative that we bring the men who have also been left out of higher consciousness their whole lives. It is imperative that we bring them in and we bring them into the fold and we teach them how to experience emotion and we teach them how to have compassion and we teach them how to feel feelings and we allow them to cry and we allow them to experience pain and we teach them how to experience pain without inflicting it, right? I mean, that's where we all really want to end up. And, it speaking, I wrote a little spoken word poem the other day that I posted along those lines because I was inspired by that. And I'll read it real quick, it's not long. It just says, come back. We are what is coming. I am writing this to you, to the man reading this on his lunch break, to the woman reading this at midnight because the house finally got quiet. I want to tell you something the feed buries. You are each other's people, and you always were. Someone made money selling you a different story. Someone is still making money. Every time you grind your teeth at a stranger's post, an investment fund somewhere ticks up. The whole machine exists there. The whole sermon exists there. And meanwhile, the woman next door is tired. Meanwhile, the man across the street is tired. Meanwhile, the laws keep tightening while we shout at shadows of each other we found on a screen. I know what it is to be spoken over. I know what it costs to be made smaller in a room you helped build. I'm asking every woman to hold that truth, to hold it as hers. I'm asking us to look up from the phone long enough to see who's standing next to us. Because I have stood next to men who were told I was the problem, and I spoke to them anyway. I stayed myself. I stayed steady, and something in them set the weapon down. They set it down because I met them as a whole person, and I waited for them to become one too. That is the aim, after all, right? Standing in our own shape when the screen tries to pour us into another. Men, we need you, the one underneath the version the internet sells back to you, the one who recognizes the woman he loves at 3 in the morning when the house is quiet. Women, they need us, whole, awake, standing on ground we remember belongs to us too. We come back to each other because we are what is coming. The law is busy. The party is busy. The president is busy. The post is busy. Only us, hand to hand, eye to eye, off the feed, on the floor of a real room, deciding together that we are powerful the moment we choose each other instead. Come back. I'm already here.
Oh, I love that, Tammy.
I do too.
Yes,
That felt
I
very
love
special to
that.
me to express that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I mean, yes, there's men out there who have done horrible things. Not all of them. There's many good men that are in this world. I'm fortunate to be married to one of them that are good men. I do see, though, my husband, I'll speak to what I see there. I see someone who stays constantly connected and not sitting with himself. Even when he goes and walks the neighborhood, he's listening to a podcast. When he's on the lawnmower, I mean, granted, he's listening to music, and I do love to hear him singing while he's riding on that lawnmower. And in our yard, it's so precious to hear him singing, but it still could be time that he could be sitting with himself and allowing what needs to come through, that guidance and those messages, they could be coming through to him then. We're just so plugged in. And again, we've been taught this. The world has made us incredibly busy and told us to fear everything around us, along with, like I've said before, the food that we is in the grocery stores and what have you, that, is unhealthy, that breaks down the body. Because when our bodies are broken down, I mean, basically, it's breaking our mind, our bodies, and our souls. So we stay just good little worker bees and we don't ever question. You sleep, you eat, you work, you chase the dollar, and then you repeat it again until you basically retire. And at that point, most people are on however many meds and they're sick and their bodies are not well for the majority. And it's very difficult for them to go and enjoy those last years that they're here. They have all these dreams of what they want to go do when they retire, but yet they end up sitting in front of the TV watching whatever news channel people choose to watch. It's all divisive and pumping everybody full of fear, or game shows, or whatever else. It's still being programmed. I mean, there's the CIA was part of a bunch of productions in Hollywood to help push an agenda down to the masses to make you think the way you do.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm completely broken out of that, Tammy. I'm working on it. Every day is a work in progress. But we don't have to live that way. We don't have to. We get to choose. And we get to stand up and we get to say, we do not consent to this fuckery. I'm tired of it. And I don't know anyone, and I can't imagine anyone who is really okay with how this world is. That we've got billionaires who aren't even the people truly pulling the strings. It's the gazillionaires, if that's even a number and a word. The billion, I mean, they're still just puppets. They're thinking that they're in charge. No, no, you're not in charge. You're still just you're the one helping to push it along the masses. And we don't appreciate you for that. No, we don't. And but I am choosing no longer to be in that space, Tammy. I'm choosing to see people as people and love them where they are. And exited corporate America almost 3 years ago, and it's been a journey to get here, but finally stepping into a role that I feel like, because I you need to go back to who were you as a child? What inspired you? And for me as a child, all I wanted to do was love people. I just wanted to love everyone around me. And I'm finally in a space where I feel like I'm giving back and being in service and doing that. It's all I ever
Yeah.
wanted. And the world is starting to reflect that back to me. I mean, when I go out, it's beautiful. And I mean, we really are, I feel like living in two different realities in this same space. One that's beautiful and loving, and there's kindness and compassion and cooperation. And that's the world I'm living in. And then there's this other where people, they're their homes and they're in fear. And
Hmm.
and I'm not saying that they're not right because the world looks scary to them.
Hmm.
And we kind of have to reach back and help each other come out of that. And so, I mean, I am just moving full forward force on a beautiful world. And I think that's what you're doing too, Tammy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm living proof that you get to make the choice. You know, as we've talked about, we went pharmacy free in 2023. I had a very clear vision then of us turning 60 and having 18 meds in front of us that we're supposed to take every day. And I was like, there has to be a better way than this. I just don't recall this. Surely this wasn't happening 100 years ago, 150 years ago. You didn't turn 60 and have a list of medications you have to take to the doctor every time. Working in healthcare, I saw it firsthand. Elderly people don't have the social life. They go to the doctor for social life, for social interaction. And that is the saddest thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
I am not going to be that person. I used to joke with my wife about living in Germantown because I called it the city that's actually a nursing home. Um, And we were susceptible to that. We sat in the recliner every evening at 6:30 and watched Wheel of Fortune, with a blanket over our feet. And then we got up and went to bed. And we were in our mid 50s.
Right.
So that's when I said then I don't consent to this. This is not the kind
Yes.
of life that I want. I don't want to waste away in a recliner watching Wheel of Fortune every night. That to me feels like a personal hell. And so we didn't. We rented our house out and we bought a motorhome and I started doing travel healthcare work. And when that became too much physically for me, we decided we're going to go somewhere where we can live more cheaply and actually live before we die. And we moved to Spain. And I am living proof that you get to choose the timeline that you walk in. And that is my mission. I want to help other highly successful women who are at or near retirement age fit into the life that they've built for themselves. We've all worked incredibly hard and we've all been successful one way or another in our lives. And for me, I reached that point and thought, well, my kid was grown, so she didn't really need me to do stuff for her day to day. I wasn't really working as much. I didn't have career aspirations. I wasn't trying to climb the corporate ladder anymore. And interestingly enough, because this is a real thing, but when you turn 50, the way that you are viewed in the corporate workplace is a little different. You know, People don't necessarily consider you for your wisdom and your experience just because you don't have that little cute faith anymore, right? So, that's what I want to help other women do. I want to help them fit their insides into the external lives of success that they've built. And that's my whole goal for being here. I'm living proof that it can be done and you don't have to move to Spain to do it.
Yeah.
Although why
Well, and
wouldn't
you're
you want to?
right. It's beautiful. Well, and Tammy, you're already doing it. I mean, you're doing that for people now. And the
Absolutely.
people you're just helping who come out or they're getting close to that stage of life and they're looking around going, oh my God, what am I going to do after this? This is all I've known. And you're helping them find what is it that you want? What
Right.
is it that calls to you? I truly believe that all of us who are here, we all came in with a plan and a purpose. But of course, we get here, we're in these little bodies, and we've got these brains that, yes, we're programmed because and part of it is we do have to figure out how to navigate this world and live within this world. And I think our parents do the best they can for us.
Right.
Um, but yeah, you're doing it, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, well, that's so, I have a workshop that I host called A Different Kind of Retirement, and it is for women who are in that demographic and it has nothing to do with finances at all. It is really about discovering and finding out the life that you want to have in retirement. What do you want to do with your days? What kind of memories do you want to create? What kind of legacy do you want to leave for your life, not your finances, but for your life.
Yeah.
And so that's been really, really beautiful to witness with the women that I've worked with. Really, it's been phenomenal.
I love that. I love that, Tammy. I've seen some amazing things with my work as well, being a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner. And I'm going to go ahead and say what it is instead of just the initials, but it's QHHT. And I mean, just some of it's wonderful, Tammy, holding space for people. Some of these people, it's the first time that they've actually just spoken out, gone through their life and just spoken out, their story.
Yeah.
You were born. Okay, then what happened? How was it growing up? How was it, what was the dynamic in your home? How was it when you were in school? Your work, your relationships. Let's talk about, did you have some trauma that happened to you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that and let's get that out. And it just allowing that space, that safe space, because it's confidential, it's non-judgmental. I mean, Lord knows I've had my own experiences with, abuse and not making always great decisions myself. I mean, I've done that. And we all have, and it shaped us into who we are, but it doesn't define us today. We don't have to continue to carry that. It is truly in the past. And we can find ourselves in a place where we are living right here and right now with what's in front of us and what's important to us here. We also don't have to be in fear of the future because your future self is already there and it's pulling you towards it. And the beautiful thing is the decisions that we make every day is building our future and our future self, depending. And I got this amazing book that I received at this retreat that I went to back in February. And it was a gift from one of the ladies facilitating it and guiding us through our journeys. And it was called, I think it was called Holy Moments. I don't have it in front of me, but it's kind of a short book. Beautiful, though, talking about are you coming from a holy place or an unholy place? Is it good for you? Is it good for the world? Is it kind? What are you putting into the world? And it just makes you pause in those moments and think, is this the best decision? Is my future self going to be happy about this
Mm.
or not? So I really am finding myself, and I think I just want to get a stack of those books just to share with my people because it's beautiful. And so I'm really working to live my life that way. Am I perfect? No. No, I still get on the interstate sometimes and there's somebody who cuts me off and I'm like, ah, and it's so frustrating, but who knows what they've got going on in their life that in that moment as well. So I'm responsible for me. And, these days I choose to let that go much quicker than I used to. These days
Yeah.
it's gone in a few seconds versus, a few minutes, or maybe I'm complaining about it later that night. I'm still holding on to something that person's not thinking about me.
Right.
They don't care. They got wherever they were rushing off to that they probably didn't even want to be at anyway. So I don't need to hold that. I can just let
Right.
that go. And like yesterday, I'm driving. I volunteer at a food bank here, and I try to do every Tuesday morning and go and give back in that capacity. And I had a rock chip hit up on my window, and I was like, oh. And then, I'm like, oh, that's frustrating. Now I've got to go deal with this after I do. And then I paused and I went back and I went, oh, I think that might have been just a little bit of an instant karma moment because I realized when I was driving there, I was a little bit late. I know that's a shocker for anybody who knows me that I'm running a little bit late. So, anywho, and I noticed I kind of went back just a little bit and realized, wasn't really kind to this one person when I was driving. And I really felt like it was an instant karma thing. And I'm going,
Mm.
yeah, there it is, right back at me. And it's in right my line of sight, so I'm gonna have to go get it fixed pretty immediately. I did come home yesterday and I told David, I'm like, you're gonna have to take your car today. So yeah, anyway. So Sally's sitting in the garage, yeah, waiting to get her little ding fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. The streets here in Spain are pequeño. They're very tiny, and all the cars here are very tiny. And when you find yourself on a very tiny street and you need to turn around to go the other way, it I don't deal with things like that very well. I get frustrated and anxious very easily, and I tend to blah, just. And fortunately, I was by myself when I had to do this, and I scraped the side of our car just a little bit, which
Oh,
we intentionally bought a car that was not very expensive because it's going to happen, right? So we're not putting a lot of money into a car here. And so come to find out, thankfully, the car was dirty enough that I couldn't really, like, I thought it was a lot worse than what it was. And when I wiped it off, it was just, you can't even really see it. So it's gonna be okay. And I didn't even get in trouble for it when I got home. So
that's good.
I know, I'll
That's
take it.
good. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, I just know that more and more people are really waking up to the way this world is, the programming, the fear that's being just pumped on us. It's just people are ready for change. People
Yeah,
are tired of being in this rat race. There is so much abundance in this world. We have been so lied to about that. There is enough abundance for every single person on this planet to live comfortably and well. There's enough resources for everyone. There's enough alternate resources that we don't have to cut down all of our trees that give us what we need to breathe to live. We don't need all of the stuff that we fill up our
absolutely.
homes that when we leave this world, someone's got to deal with. That, we're being told, oh, this is the newest, latest thing. Here, go get this monster cup. Here's a new cup. And yes, I use my copper cup. I have a copper cup. However, the other one I had for a couple of years. This is mine. It was so dented that David was like, would you please get you another one? And I'm like, okay, I'll order another one. But we're still using the other one. And, but we still have a cabinet full of cups, plastic
Yeah,
cups, steel cups, porcelain cups, whatever. And this is like all I use. And I'm going, why can't we let go of them? And we have let go of some of them, but why isn't the whole cabinet cleared? I don't know yet. I can't really answer that. It's not completely my decision. Let me just put it that way. And David's not quite ready to let go of all of them. And that's okay. I respect that. I mean, we get to make decisions on that together. But it's just interesting. It's like, this is all I use today. And then I've got a couple of these wheatgrass cups that I use for little bitty ones. And the rest of them and a couple coffee cups, and that's it. I need like five. But
yeah.
I'm telling you, Tammy, I mean, we've got, the plastics are stacked, 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 stacked all the way up.
Girl, you're
And
preaching to the
rows of
choir.
them.
We had to clean out our attic and our whole house when we moved into the motorhome the first time. I don't know if I told you this story, but we had boxes that Rowan, my daughter, had packed up when she went to college. And when we moved from Midtown out to Germantown, those boxes just went straight into the attic. So when we were clearing everything out, I opened literally a 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot box because we were going through everything. It was full of shampoo and conditioner that had been in the attic for 7 years.
Right? Right? I mean,
We had
woo,
3 Goodwill trucks come to the house. We sold some stuff and gave some stuff away. Like it was insane. And it's also one of the things that I've noticed being here in Spain. There is so much less consumerism. Like, Amazon is here, but we don't get packages every day like we did at home. You go to the grocery store here, and I just noticed this yesterday, but they don't have the little racks of candy and toys all at the checkout aisle. They have like a little thing of gum, and that's it. And there's no prepackaged, foods, and the grocery stores are not huge here. You go once every couple of days and you get what you need, and then you go back when you need more. And
Yeah, and it's
that's
all
the way,
fresh
yeah,
and
it's the
good.
way it all works here. And I love that. I'm starting to appreciate that more and more. And I'm shifting gears again, but I
That's
was going
okay.
to go back to what you're talking about, love and finding the love in yourself. And it spoke to me what you read, because I think for the last few years, I have been grieving the loss of people in my life who loved me unconditionally. And I have felt, I'm going to get emotional about this, but I have
It's okay.
felt um, alone, right? Like my grandmother passed in 2020, and she was probably the first person that just really loved me for who I am, and was never ashamed to tell me that and to love me that way publicly. And I didn't have to do anything to earn her love. And when she passed in 2020, that was a big loss for me. And then the second person that I felt that from is my aunt. And um, she has Alzheimer's. And so the loss for her has been a lot slower. And um, and I've been grieving her presence in my life as well, because there have been things that, I just want to pick up the phone and call her and say, look at this. And I know that she would just be right there cheering me on and be so happy for me. And um, so don't get me wrong, I have love in my life, but those two women are the ones who made me, like who really made me the woman that I am. And I have felt that without them in my life, that I'm alone and that I don't have anybody here. Now, I know that's not true in my mind, you know, but the reading that you just read reminded me that I am not alone when those women are no longer in this realm. And I feel my grandmother's spirit all the time near me. And the love that I have inside of me is the love that they put there inside of me. And so every time I get to share that, I get to feel them and I get to share them again. And that's a beautiful thing to recognize. And thank you for allowing me to just completely be a hot mess here.
You are allowed. I know how much those women mean to you. And I'm not going to say it in past tense because they're always going to mean that to you. And they're always going to be that for you, no matter
Absolutely.
how many years we have here on this earth. And,
Absolutely.
yes, they're on the other side. We can't see them, but they're there. And I mean, I know your aunt is still here, but your grandmother, I mean, she is still there providing love
She
and
absolutely
and
is.
guidance and guidance. I mean, you're
Yeah,
getting all of that. I'm sure she's one of your spirit guides today.
she absolutely is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I see her, I see colors around people. And so I see her color a good bit and just out of the corner of my eye. And it just makes me know that she's
Yes.
there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and your aunt
So,
too. I mean, I'm sure her
absolutely.
soul comes to see you as well, even though, she can't express through the body the way she used to because it's just not working, you know,
Yeah,
in that
we had a
capacity.
moment. I talk to her every week on the phone. We do a video call every week. And so I do get to talk to her. And I'm so excited. We're coming to visit and finish up some stuff in the US in a couple weeks. And so I'm so excited to hug her. And I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, she got the phone when I called and she took the phone back to her bedroom. It was just me and her because usually my uncle's there with her. And she sat down and we were just talking and I said, "Well, I can't wait to hug you. You know, I'm coming to see you soon." And she just looked at me and she said, "Yep, that's right, because you're mine." And I said, "You're exactly right. I am yours."
Yeah.
So, just I love that she still connects to that part of her where she feels, even if she can't think it, like she feels it.
Yeah. Yes, she does.
It's
And it's
beautiful
so cool
to
to me, Tammy, because, the way you were raised, yeah, you were, in small town America down in Mississippi, outside of Meridian. And
right.
but you had a lot of family around you, and your aunt was a constant in your life. And
Hmm.
I feel like that's one of the things, especially here in the West, where, disconnection is really pushed. The kids leave at 18.
Right.
The parents, you don't live with your parents, when they get older, you just put them in a home when that's time, when they can no longer live in their home, by themselves. Because people are still too busy. They're still working. They still, they're incapable of, just setting aside the time to help take care of, the people who took care of them when they were young. And I'm not saying, I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying
No,
that's
right.
kind of what it is. I'm not calling anyone out on that, but
Well, the system is designed that way.
it is designed that way for the disconnection. And then all of a sudden, you've got your parent or your grandparent, they're in their, nursing home or wherever they are. And oh my God, this is it. Hospice is in. Everybody come in and say their goodbyes. And at that point, it's too late.
Right.
I mean, you can't get the stories from them. You can't find out more about your family. I mean, especially when you live in town, the same town as your grandparents or your parents, make an effort. Just go see them.
Right.
Because each day is a gift for, and I'm getting a little emotional because I used to go see my grandma as much as I could, when I was growing up. And I remember when she passed away and I went, I don't have any regrets because I went and saw
Right.
her every time I could. My daughter has some beautiful memories of myself, my mom, my daughter, the three of us piling in the car and just going to see Granny. I mean, we did that probably once a quarter. We'd
Yeah.
have a long weekend at work and we'd just go and we would do that. And those are some really cherished memories for not only me, but for my daughter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm
So,
very grateful for that in my life. And my daughter got to have that with her father's mother in
yeah,
Memphis, where we were from. And what a beautiful grandparent experience for her. That woman was amazing and I loved her so much. And I'm so grateful for her influence in my children's lives. So
yeah. I
at
came
the end
across
of
a
the
post.
day, that go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I came across this post and I don't have it. I probably have it saved, but I'm not going to pull it up to read it right now because it'll take me a minute to find it. But it was basically this man who was in the rat race, working, 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 working. And he found himself, I don't think he lived in the same town as his parents, but he had like this flight layover or something, or a meeting got canceled, and he was close enough to drive home. And so, just out of the blue, he decided, you know what, I'm going to surprise my parents. I'm just going to drive home and do that. And he pulls up in front of their little modest house and he realized, oh my God, they've got, the porch light is on. And, he went in and they were so excited to see him. I think they had Wheel of Fortune on or something. And, he visited with them and he asked them, why's the light on during the day? And they said, well, we always leave that on for you. I was like, wow, for when you find your way
Precious.
back home. And it was really sweet.
That's
Yeah,
precious. I think
I
that
know.
is a beautiful note for us to finish our session, our episode with, and and to just be reminded that the love never leaves. It's there the moment we start, the moment we gain consciousness, before we're even born, the moment that we descend into this realm. The love is there. And I think it just feels like it's our job to remember to find it
Yeah,
and not let it be covered up by all the other things that feel so important, but that really aren't.
yeah. And then also just everything that we take in, I mean, we are what we eat, we are what we read, we are what we watch, we are the company we keep. We're all of that. And so, I mean, if one day you look up and you're like, I don't like how this looks or how this feels or what's happening, you can always make a change. You don't have to stay in that space. And it doesn't have to be drastic all at once, because again, every day you're building and you're leading yourself to your future self.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love you so much, and I'm so glad that we get to spend this time together.
Me too. Me too, Tammy. It's wonderful. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in person soon. Yeah,
Yes, me too.
that'd
Me
be
too.
great.
Well, thank you. On that note, we will end this episode and we will see you all next week here
Yep.
for the sixth episode of the United States of Us.
Sounds great. Thank
Till then.
you. Much love.